afternoon and welcome. Let me say that again. Welcome. Now I know it's a little raining out and a little dry, but thank you. All right, we're doing well. So it's my pleasure. My name is John Chalikoff. I'm the Dean of the Wells College of Business. It's my pleasure to welcome you to really what is the Linda McMahon Women Can Have It All series. Just take a minute introducing Linda, who really needs no introduction, but let me say, this is the 6th time we put this on, and this has really become her series, and we're so thankful to have it at the school and what we've been able to do with it. Now, everybody knows Linda McMahon, because it's the most popular building on campus, right? What do we say? Meet you at Linda's, right? That's Linda McMahon.
Well, I don't know. I think Frank's is pretty awesome myself.
Frank, it's competing. So, the other thing about Linda is she's been such tremendous support. She's been on our board of trustees since 2004, and she's now vice president of the board. So, ladies and gentlemen, Linda McMahon here. Let's give her a big thank you. Another, actually, lady who needs no introduction at SHU is Cindi Bigelow. Cindy's been, besides being CEO of Bigelow Tea Company and all this stuff, we're going to see a whole video that'll properly introduce her. We just want to thank her for over 20 years. She's been coming to Sacred Heart, to the Wells College of Business, anytime we've asked her. Come to a class, to an event, she is showing up, and I just want to give you a big public thanks for that, and you'll be more properly introduced in a minute. Thank you. Linda?
Over to me now? Thank you, Dean. Well, I have the pleasure this afternoon for the first time in one of our series, we're going to welcome Shoe Love, which is our all-female ensemble here at Sacred Heart, and they are about their voice quality, technique, building community, and women's rights. So I think they fit very, very nicely into our group today. So ladies,
Mama told me not to waste my life. She said, spread your wings, my little butterfly. But what they say, keep you up at night. And if they give you shh, then they can walk on by. My feet can touch the ground, and I can hear the sound. You just keep on running up your mouth, yeah. Walk on over there, 'cause I'm us down. Don't matter what you say, it won't hurt me. Don't matter if I fall from the sky. These wings are made to fly, and we don't let nobody bring us down. Don't matter what you say, it won't hurt me. Don't matter if I fall from the sky. These wings are made to fly.
And anything you'd like to say about these wonderful young women? Please.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having us today. My name is Anna DeVaux-Jalbert. I'm the director of Shoe Love here at Sacred Heart. I gotta say, this is an amazing group of women that I get to work with. We are, I think, the biggest women's choir the university has ever seen. We have about 55 members, which is, yeah. 55 members who've auditioned, who have the vocal talent and the commitment and the dedication to this choir program to be a part of this ensemble. We sing some pretty challenging stuff, and we sing some pretty powerful stuff. What you just heard is called Wings. It's a song about empowerment, about being yourself, about not shooting too low, not dumbing yourself down, and just letting your wings fly, pretty much. Later on in the program, at the end, we're gonna sing "The Storm Is Passing Over." It's a little bit more of a hope piece, where we can still go, right? Where women can have even more rights than we have today, and that there's always a place to hope to be at. So "The Storm Is Passing Over" is pretty special to us too. It's a gospel tune, and it might bring us all to church for a little bit at the end there, but our girls, our women, love singing this piece and both of these pieces, and we all just thank you so much for having us today.
This may have set now a new precedent. So we may be calling on you in the, in the fall and in the spring to come back and sing some more songs for us. So thank you very much for being here. If we may, let's go to the videotape and properly introduce my guest for today, my friend Cindi Bigelow.
Third generation president and CEO of RC Bigelow Tea.
Yep.
The U.S. market leader of specialty teas, Bigelow produces over 1.7 billion tea bags annually. Bigelow tea is served in offices and homes all over the country. It is an incredible product, and Cindi is at the forefront of the company.
We are 100% family, and we care about every package. We oversee every new product, every new blend. We're in charge and work very closely with the quality assurance area. So, our fingers are pretty much over every aspect of the business, but we're proud of that. That's our name on the package.
Cindi is also a leader in philanthropy. She has helped to build a socially conscious and community-engaged company. She is one of the most prolific philanthropists in the state of Connecticut and in the country.
I've done, actually, for the last 28 years, is we have the Bigelow Tea Community Challenge. And the Bigelow Tea Community Challenge raises about $110,000, $120,000 a year, and we help 18 different organizations in the Fairfield-Bridgeport area, really on basic needs. But we also do so many other things. I mean, whether it's junior achievement or reading in the school systems, or I go down to Appalachia every year with my church and help build homes down there with about 150 kids. So we're blessed to be able to do it, and we love to do it. Again, it's sort of that passion and caring outside of yourself. It's whether it's the employees or the community, it's just giving back.
Cindi holds a bachelor's degree from Boston College
So go Eagles!
and an MBA from Northwestern University. She has also been the recipient of numerous awards throughout her career. We are dealing with an American original. She is a person we can all learn from and aspire to be. Cindi is a business person, a philanthropist, a community leader, and she wholeheartedly embodies the American dream.
Together here, this is you by our logistic partner. And thank you very much. It was great, guys. Did a wonderful job with that.
Amazing. I impressed myself with that video.
I like the Dancing with the Stars.
Oh, God. That was a charity event. I would not normally be doing that.
You did incredibly well.
Well, I didn't fall on my head. That was a good beginning.
Very good, very good. So, we're actually welcoming Cindy back, as Dean said, she comes often. But in 2011, she also, received our prestigious award at our Discovery Gala. So Cindy's committed to education and participating in that. I don't know if any of you here are utilizing any of those scholarships, but as you know, that is what we do with our Discovery Gala, is raise money for scholarships for all of you. So hopefully if you are, Cindy was responsible for a good amount of that, so we give her a round of applause. We'd like to thank our alums who are up here. I think mostly everyone who's sitting upstairs is an alum, so thank you very much for being here today. We really appreciate that. Nice to welcome back. So Cindy, you are third generation, or the third president and CEO, your grandmother, and then your father, and now you.
Mm-hmm, that's true.
So when you graduated from college, you just walked right in and took over, right?
Hardly. But first I have to just say, to Shoe Love, you guys were like unbelievable. I don't know if you saw me like rocking up here, close my eyes, start to sing with you, start to cry. Even though I'm so happy to be up here with Linda, I'm almost excited for this to end so we can hear you again.
Okay, we can end now.
Oh my God, you were awesome. What a perfect way to start this. So thank you. It was really inspirational. Your words and your tone and it's just the whole thing was really great. Okay, sorry. So being in a family business and having a last name and coming into a business, I'm sure a lot of people think like, you got the last name and it's going to be really easy. I specifically, when I graduated from that other Catholic university,
It's a good one.
it's a good one. We like Boston College. So I got another job. I was very excited about the job that I got. It was the one I wanted. It was in sales. I know people don't really talk those things that much anymore, but in our day, I was like, and still so exciting. I got a sales job with the Seagram's liquor company, which was really fun. That's all I can say. And
So those things were great.
yeah, they were great. It's good. But anyway, then I went back to graduate school, and at that point then I joined the family firm. And my father had a very much of a mission for me. He really wanted me to start off as the cost accountant and just understand how product is built. But it was unusual. I mean, I was still very young at that time. I was 26 years old when I started. And it was difficult at times because you were just trying to do your job and do the best you can, and many people were looking at you as a Bigelow, and so they were either being nice to you because you were a Bigelow, or they weren't being nice to you because you were a Bigelow. And so you didn't really get to start on some sort of, I guess, regular footing. So for me, it was just really important not to let that influence my daily work, and just make sure I always stayed motivated to be what I felt that I had been before I went to work there. And that was, I was always going to just do the best I could and be the hardest worker possible. And then over time, eventually you're still always a Bigelow, but you hope that your relationships are really now based on your skill sets and not necessarily a last name. But it's tough as a young person to come in with that name.
I read an article that you've written not too long ago about your father. And you certainly have such, who is still co-chairman with your mom?
He is the co-chairman, yes. Chairman of the board, yes.
Yes. And you were telling in that letter, you were relating a story about when you first started working as a cost accountant, that he came by your desk and you had a pile of envelopes up that were
in the outbasket.
In the outbasket, and he asked you what they were.
Yeah, it's a great story. I'd love to share it. It's really, I was blessed how I was raised. And my first experience 3 days in on the business, I had the first PC in the company, right? And I was trying to put together the first cost of goods, everything had been, you guys probably don't even know these, whatever, these big books and the line paper. And
I do.
Yeah, tin was 3 cents, and you flip it over and say lid 1 cent. And I was trying to put that onto a computer. So I was feeling pretty good, I had this MBA and blah, blah, blah.
Were you cocky?
I was, but I was proud of my MBA. There wasn't a lot of MBAs at that time, and I was just feeling like, whatever, take the world by storm. And my father comes in to me and he says, how's it going? And, I was all excited to tell him a little bit about what I was doing. And I could see he was a little preoccupied. He wanted to say something to me. So after about 10 seconds of me sort of trying to tell him what I was doing, I was seeing that he wanted to say something to me. And I said, what? And he said, well, you have some envelopes that are on the outside out basket. And I said, yeah, those are bills. I brought them in to be mailed. And he said, yeah, they don't have any stamps on them. And I said, well, yeah, I thought they could put the stamps on them here. And he says, well, if you don't put any stamps on your envelopes, why should the rest of the employees put stamps on theirs? So why don't you go get those and put a few stamps on them? I was like, and then he left. And that was my first lesson from my dad. And it was the best lesson. It stuck with me for really 30 years. I've been in the organization. It's just that, you can't do anything that you don't expect as a standard for everybody in the organization. And it might seem something small, a stamp, but it's not. It's very symbolic. And that's how he has run the company. That's how I try to run the company, that you have to just recognize that stamp is important. It's a great lesson.
It is. Leadership by example is the best.
Yeah.
And that can be positive or it can be negative.
But it's also fairness.
Absolutely.
It's trying to create an environment that's fair.
So Cindi, I decided on the title of this series, Women Can Have It All, because I thought that'd be provocative. And clearly we've had a lot of different answers as to women can have it all. But what do you think about, can women have it all? And should they care to have it all?
Well, I'm not sure what have it all means. So I can't really say if you do or you don't. I believe that you set your priorities for what you want, and then you can have what you want because you set the priorities. So if something isn't important to you, whatever that might be, then you're not going to have that, but you didn't want it anyway. So to me, you can have what your priorities are. So if it is, having a business and a good family life and giving back to the community, and those are your priorities, and you are able to sort of schedule things, that's kind of the way that I make these things happen, then I think you can definitely have it all. But it has to just be establishing what really are your priorities. So to me, what's really important to do is when you're young, sort of establish, what do you think is going to be important for you later in life? When you look back, what do you want to be able to say is, I want to be remembered for this.
And do you find, as through all the different stages of your life, that what Women Can Have It All changed, what it meant to you?
It's so funny. I clearly recognized that I wanted a family, and I also wanted to run a company, and sometimes those can run into each other. And but that was going to be my prime focus, and so I really worked on a schedule, and I worked on, I don't know how anal that makes you, but I really had things really marked out so that I knew that I could do both of those things well, but it really was scheduled. And even to this day, for me, my phone, which is not on me now, nor is it on, is always on me and always on. And the reason why it's always on is because at any point in my kid's life, at any point of the day, if they call me, I don't care if it's a board of directors meeting, I don't care what it is, except for obviously with you here, I don't have my phone on, but I would answer that phone. So I always was available for my kids. And I remember one summer my son worked as an intern at Bigelow, and he said, now I see what you do, Mom. You always make it sound like when we call you, like somehow you were miraculously free. I didn't realize that you pick up that phone and you walk out anytime. So again, it was really about making your priorities very, very clear. So if having it all is having a great, great, great family and also, happy with your career, yeah, then I feel like I was able to achieve that.
You had said that he always had his priorities really family focused, and that you couldn't remember his ever missing dinner.
I tried to raise my kids the way that I was raised, and that was, we had dinner together, obviously, when I was in town, but I really jammed a lot in my trips so that I was always home as much as humanly possible. I remember my worst idea was one time I had to do California and back in a day. It was a 25-hour day. That was really a dumb one. But that's the kind of jamming that I tried to do to keep it a priority. But my father was the same. Like, he was always home for dinner, and he was always there when I needed him, and take me to college or go to a sporting whatever. And I just try to do the same thing for my kids. I mean, they knew I worked. I do remember at one point, my daughter looks at me in middle school and she says, I don't know, Mom, I don't know if all my friends' moms work. Why do you have to work? I mean, not all of them work. And I was like, well, I guess I haven't quite accomplished that they don't think I work, but just trying to find that balance.
And why did you want to work?
Well, it's, there's many different reasons why people want to work. For me, it was never a question. It was a family organization. It was a family business. It was a family jewel that there was just, it never entered my mind not to cherish and be so grateful that I had a family jewel to run. I mean, not a lot of people get an opportunity like this, and I recognized it at 16 that this is an amazing opportunity. I'm not letting it go.
And you worked in the company for summers and holidays?
Yeah. You know, it's like most of all of us, when you were 16, I had 3 jobs. I used to work as a novelist instructor, and I was a hostess at the ships in Westport, and then I also sold displays of Bigelow tea during the week. So, you know, you did all kinds of crazy things.
Yeah.
Didn't know any better.
Fun stuff. Fun stuff.
Yeah, afford like gas.
So, what do you do at your company? What opportunities do you create for the men and the women to make sure that they can have quality balance of life between work and home?
Well, you just make sure that you are sincere that what's good for you is also good for them. So, for example, this morning at whatever, 6:30, doesn't make a difference, but I got an email, a text message from my head of HR, and he said, gee, Cindy, you know, we have an executive meeting this morning that starts at 8:30, but my daughter might be winning an award at the I think it was the elementary school, I don't remember exactly. Do you mind if I don't get the executive meeting at 10? And just one word said back, great. So you have to really allow the employees to have that, but you also have to have a relationship with employees where they also know, similar to yourself, that you're going to put the time in other places. In today's world, nothing is really 9 to 5 anymore anyway, but that's kind of a good thing because of that cell phone, which can possess you and have all those other things that are associated with it. But you can also, start at 6 to 7 and then have breakfast with your kids and then work X amount of hours and then go to something and then, then come back and whatever. You got to learn to compartmentalize it and keep it somewhat in control, but you have that flexibility and you need to honor when they have something with their family, with that great.
Right, and that it's not going to reflect on them poorly when it's review time and all of that.
Oh, my goodness, no, you couldn't do that.
So if you were suggesting to some of the young men and women in this audience what to look for when they are getting their first job and kind of, how do they sort of have in their mind this whole balancing thing?
Well, first of all, for your first job, I have a little bit of a different impression or thought process than I think a lot of people. And I hope I don't say anything that puts people off, but a lot of times you hear young people say, I want to follow my passion. I'm here to say I have no idea, I can't speak for you, but I have no idea what my passion was. I mean, I knew I wanted to work at Bigelow Tea, but I can't say I was passionate about it as the cost accountant. So for me, I say your first job is great no matter what it is. You might love it, you might really not like it, or it might be somewhere in the middle, and you're going to learn from all of that. And I highly doubt that any of you, your first job is going to be the career for the rest of your life. So my son has a job, my daughter's first job, I'll tell you, they learn just as much, if not more, what they don't want to do. They don't want to live like. They want to find a better balance, and that came from their first job. So any job is a good job. I believe your passion comes way over time. I remember for me, I only wanted to run Bigelow Tea, right? You think that's pretty passionate? Okay. I remember 15 years ago, 12 years ago, I've been doing this for over 30 years, the president at the time says to me, Cindy, we really don't see any fire in your belly. I was like, what? And it really struck me that I was trying to, do my thing and in a lot of ways be obedient. I had bosses and follow what they were doing and all this other stuff. And I just realized that, wait a minute, well, you fast forward now 15 years later, I don't want to be any more passionate. If I was any more passionate, it'd be a problem for the people that work with me. Trust me, it'd be a big issue. So it just unfolds over time. So I said before when I was speaking to students this summer, Yeah, I don't know when it unfolded, I don't know what day it was and what I was doing, but you have to be patient with this word called passion. You need time to know what you want to do. You don't, I think it's unusual to know exactly what you want to do. I knew where I wanted to be, right? I did know what I wanted to do, but I wasn't necessarily passionate about it. That's what I wanted to do, and that's unusual. And even knowing what I wanted to do, it took me a while to really immerse myself, be madly in love with it every single day, just love it. And I'm 56, so I think you guys have a few years to go, is my guess.
What was that little turning point that you all of a sudden said,
You know,
yes, this is it?
I think just time and appreciating what I liked, what I didn't like, what was important, a couple life lessons, a couple bumps in the road, pain. Pain is a great teacher. I don't recommend you have to go through it, but it's a very good teacher of what really is important to you. I feel, and this I'm only speaking for myself, everyone in this room can be completely different. I just think you need time to figure out who you are and what you're capable of doing, and constantly challenging yourself to be better. And as you're challenging yourself and you're accomplishing these things over time, I think you become more and more passionate. That's just my thoughts.
Well, I agree with that. And I know from experience, watching my children come into our company, and often it was, geez, well, boy, Stephanie reminds me of you, or she's got the quality defense, and Shane is, oh my gosh, this, that. It's so hard for children. You came in to step into the shoes of their parents who have been revered, and your grandmother actually started the company, right?
Yeah. No, it's you have, exactly.
How do you maintain your own identity, and how do you sort of position yourself in that area to say, well, look, no, maybe that's not my dad, it's not my grandma, it's not my mom. This is me, and this is how I want to do it.
I feel very fortunate that I never felt in the shadow of any of them. I just didn't live my life that way. So I was very fortunate, and I do think some people do feel that way. And I can't coach them on how to make sure you're true to who you are. For me, what was important was I did want to understand what was important to the previous generations before I just went in there and started changing things. But that was just natural for me, just to say I need to understand. Just take, for example, equality. I thought I knew what quality tea was when I started. It sounds great, but I didn't really know what quality tea was. It took me years to figure that out. I had to travel the world, to be honest, and try all these different products and really learn. It took me years to understand what quality was, and yet I'd say day one, we're all about quality tea. No idea what that even meant. So it took me years to kind of figure out what quality meant, what that culture, the importance of culture. As a young person, there was no way I understood the importance of taking care of that culture. So for me, I watched what they did. I tried to learn from it over the years. Well, I was still doing my own thing as well, and learn the business and growing it and trying to improve every area that I was in. And then from there, after I really felt like I had a really strong foundation of the generations prior to me, that I could put my fingerprints on it, because I knew where I was going to also take the organization with me. So yeah, I was fortunate that way. I didn't thank God, because you are the daughter of the whatever. That could really be overbearing if you let it. I was fortunate it didn't.
Good. Well, your grandmother started the company, and she developed a tea, Constant Comment. How did that name come about, and how did she start this?
Well, talk about a woman who didn't know what her passion was. She
And a little ahead of her time.
She was all over the place, which is a good thing. She was an interior designer. She sold Chinese seasoning. She had a whole line of seasoning. She sold tapioca, pudding. I mean, you name it, she was trying it. She was a true entrepreneur. She didn't even get one product out of the line, and she was working on a new one, which drove my father literally batty, but he became the same, which is very cute. I hope maybe that's my destiny too, I don't know. But anyway, so one of the things she wanted to do, because she was always looking for something new and something exciting, and the Depression had hit, so she lost everything. So her interior design business was completely gone. My grandfather lost his job, he was in publishing, and they had nothing. They had to sell everything, they had to rent a room. It was a very difficult time in their life, talking about pain and And learning from that, my father shares stories where he used to wake up in the middle of the night in just cold sweats thinking, my God, how are they going to make it to the next day? It was a very, very stressful time in the family's life. So she finds this old colonial recipe, and she just starts to work on it with a friend, Mrs. Neely, and they perfect the recipe, and they give it to a group of women that are having this little party, whatever that means. And she calls the next day, and she said it was a source of constant comment. That's how it got its name, and she loved it. She thought it really sounded like people were talking about her product, which was really kind of fun. And we would go to advertising agencies. They say, "Oh, you got to change that name to Constant Comment." Like no one even knows what that means. It's just that name. And they were like, "Well, that's our name. We're not going to change it." And today, it's still one of the #1 selling specialty teas. So it's a really cool. It's the same exact recipe. My parents, who were, well, I can't say their age. But if I was to say my dad might be turning 90 in December, I wouldn't be making that up. Wow. If that leaves this room or is taped, I will hunt you down. Anyway, they still the only ones that make Constant Comment. Oh my God, right? They come in, they put their little lab coats on, and they go behind closed doors, and Constant Comment is born. I swear to God, they still make Constant Comment to this day. Same recipe as my grandmother.
But is the recipe available for anyone else?
No, my God, no. It was so cute because my sister had been in the business and she was in the tea division and she was fantastic. She had to leave for health reasons many years ago. But it was kind of always her thing, is the tea blending, and I did everything else with the tea blending. And so when my mother finally said, I finally said, I guess maybe 8 years ago, I said, "Mom, don't you think it's kind of time you give me the Constant Comment recipe? I mean, I'm just saying." And she was like, "Okay, I'm going to have you come up. And you're going to make Constant Comment. I'm going to show you what we do. But you know what? Don't make a big deal about the fact that you know the recipe. Can we just be low-key about it?" I said, "Absolutely, Mom." So I go up, and they tell me 6 minutes of this, and you roll it this way, and you do this, and do that. And it was really fun. And one of the fun things about getting older that I was talking about, understanding passions, I believe in my earlier years, I probably would have been like, "Oh, how am I going to streamline this process?" But at the age I finally went in there, I wanted to do it exactly how they would do it. Everything, I cherished the whole thing. So anyway, so I finished. I'm heading back to my office. I no more got to my office. I had emails, text messages, phone from everyone in the company. She knows. It's like through the organization, and within 10 minutes, that I finally made it up to learn how Constant Comment was made. I can make Constant Comment now.
Thank God.
Like, really?
The tradition will continue.
I mean, third generation, that kind of goes with the territory, doesn't it?
Do either of your children want to be in the business? Both of them?
Well, I have a daughter and a son, and my daughter has not expressed an interest. That's totally cool, because it's something that you have to really want to do in your heart of hearts. You cannot do it because someone's pressuring you to do it. That would just be really weird. So I don't think so, but welcome anytime. Very creative, love her, she's amazing, very smart. And my son is very business focused, and we've sort of skirted around it a little bit, but it's more important for me that he does what he wants to do, and that I love him for what he wants to be, more than anything else to me. So as much as I love the organization and I want it to continue to the 4th generation, it's really what's important to my son. If he wants to, great. If he doesn't want to, then I will still own it, but I will have management in place. So it'll be, sure, I'll make it work either way.
A fallback plan.
Yeah, I have to think about a fallback plan, because succession is, obviously very important in family.
I was doing a little reading before I came today, and I actually learned stuff that I didn't know about tea. There are actually only 3 kinds of teas, right?
Well, basically.
That's what you said.
Yeah, well, there's
Tea time
white
with
tea.
Cindi.
White tea is sometimes a little, there, in yellow tea. There's little nuances that are different. But basically, there is 2 types of tea bushes, Sinensis sinensis and Sinensis assamica, which doesn't really mean anything to you guys, nor do you really care. But that's different size leaves, and they're grown in different parts of the world. And they both produce, though, the same kinds of teas. It's how you process them that determines it. So basically, sinensis is what makes the green tea, and a Sinensis assamica is grown in countries that make black tea, but they can both make the same. And it's what you do with those tea leaves that determine if it's green, black, or oolong, and it's just exposure to air. Green has no exposure to air, it's called unfermented. Black is fully fermented, around 6 hours, so it's an oxidized product, and oolong is in the middle. So there are just basically 3 types of tea. Herbals have no Camellia sinensis. They're wonderful for you, they're delicious. I love herbal teas, and they're healthy for you, but they don't have the tea bush in it, which is the Camellia sinensis, green, black, or oolong.
So I was listening to
There you go, guys, you can now take a test on how to
I found that incredibly interesting when I was reading about that today. I said, well, it's just really only 3 primary teas. But I heard you outside just before who was talking about having a bit of a scratchy throat, and you said, oh.
Well, Camellia sinensis is very good for you. It has many health properties because if you think about it, you're drinking the brew of a vegetable, and right, because you're brewing these leaves, and then you're discarding the vegetable, the leaf, and then you're drinking the brew, and it's loaded with the antioxidants. And they change though as the leaves are exposed to air. The antioxidant properties change. So green tea is very good for cancer. Black tea is very good for cardiovascular. But black tea is also, what Linda is saying, really good. It kills viruses on contact. So actually, Dr. Vita up at Boston University did a study using Bigelow tea and how, in a petri dish, but it kills the virus on contact. For sore throats, if you drink like 3 cups of black tea a day, no milk in it, sorry, you actually really can help your throat heal. There you go. You didn't think you were going to get that today, did you?
Can it be used in advance to keep you from getting the bacteria?
Well, it can be used in advance because the thing about black tea, again, is it, and teas in general, is it increases your T cells. And T cells are what make you strong, keep your immunization strong, your immune system strong.
That would be T cells,
Yes,
not
yes.
T cells.
Yes, exactly. So actually, tea is very good for keeping, I don't know how to do this, okay. TEA is very good for keeping your T cells or your immune system strong. So it's a very good way to keep yourself naturally strong.
So you should have the healthiest family around.
My grandfather lived to 103. See, enough said. And he drank 3 cups of black tea a day, Earl Grey, and man, did he like it hot. Wow.
My grandfather chopped up red pepper in his coffee every morning. He lived to be 94.
Oh, there you go.
But when somebody said, you have to stop doing that, it's going to kill you, it finally did, I guess.
Actually, peppers are really good for you. Lots of good stuff in that, too.
You
No, you know what to me I always love is that my grandmother, she didn't mean to, but she, like, when she put us into a family business, it's so cool to be in a family business that sells something so healthy. Like, that's a really nice thing. No disrespect for products that aren't as healthy, but it's really neat that you are selling something that is just so good for the body. It is really fun, and it kind of, that's how I try to run the business, is a holistic approach. It's good for you, you should be doing good things, you only put out products that have that health benefit to it, so it's fun. That's how the core of the business, health.
One other little nugget that I found in reading was that next to water, tea is the #1 consumed beverage in the world.
Yep, it really is. Well, think about China and India and how much consumption of tea is there, and the number of people that are there as well, but yeah.
Do you find most of your tea still in Sri Lanka and in India? Is that where you get most of your tea?
Actually, yes, that's by far the majority of our black teas. I just came back from India, I was just in Sri Lanka. And what's neat about Sri Lanka and India, but what's neat about Sri Lanka is the most expensive teas in the world, and they do that on purpose. So there's other countries you can go to and the price is much less, but Sri Lanka teas are all hand-picked. We buy them from the top of the mountain, and companies, sorry to be somewhat disparaging, but Lipton used to have gardens in Sri Lanka, and so they had beautiful teas that went into their products. They had, the whole integration from top to bottom. And as the teas got more expensive, all the companies started pulling out of buying Sri Lankan teas or having gardens in Sri Lanka anymore as well. So we are the only ones that do not, because our recipes are very, very clear about the amount of Ceylon tea or Sri Lankan teas in it. So we are the #1 importer of Sri Lankan teas in the United States, and we're very, very, very proud of that, because it's a phenomenal tea.
So how do you distinguish Bigelow, other than it's got the best tea in the world, from the way other tea companies run themselves?
Well, I think your question is so good, because the reality of it is everyone just sees a box on a shelf and they go, okay, and they connote in their mind, well, this is this kind of company or that kind of company, and The price might connote something for you. So if this is $1 more a box, it's got to be a better tea. If it's sold inside Starbucks, it's got to be cooler and hipper. So what we are trying to do and working hard at it all the time is really trying to get out who we are in a better fashion, because I really can tell you from a tea perspective, our quality is second to none. And I'll just give you the example of our Earl Grey. I don't know if any of you guys are familiar with Earl Grey, but what makes Earl Grey, it's a black tea with the oil of bergamot, is what it should be. And the oil of bergamot is a fruit that is grown in Calabria, Italy. And we buy the entire crop from this beautiful third generation farm, and it's actually organic. That's because we didn't ask it to be organic. The farmer that does this, they only use manure, and it's just how they raise it. There's no pesticides, herbicides on it. And it's up to $150 a pound. Well, we're the only one in the United States that uses the oil of bergamot of the top companies. They use prills, they'll use citrus from other parts of the world. They will not use the real oil of bergamot. So we always stayed true. That's when remember I told you it took me years to really understand what quality was. I had no idea. So it was important for me to learn it and really stay true to it. So that's one of the things that we really focus on, is making sure no matter what, that we are always having the best product. Same with our chamomile. If you taste our chamomile compared to other chamomiles, and I always recommend people do this, ours is a sweet or rounder chamomile, and I was just talking to John about that as well. He loves our chamomile. So our base is always going to be the quality. The reason why you have to put it in foil is because of the volatile oils, the oils in general, the teas, they'll all dry out. So people don't even understand why it has to be in foil.
You originated that, right? In foil?
Absolutely. Because otherwise you will lose the health benefits and the taste profile very, very quickly. But now what we're trying to do is really do a better job on our packaging and with our messaging. We're going to be launching a campaign called Tea Proudly very shortly, where people can really try to understand who we are, right? Because we are family, we produce all our bags in America, and we're all about quality. But people don't know that. They judge us and say, oh, that's my grandmother's tea, which, it is my grandmother's tea. So I always get a kick out of it. I'm like, it isn't your grandmother's tea, it's my grandmother's tea. But anyway, so we need to really do a better job of that. So we've got a really good team, good dynamic team that are really focusing on how we get that message out about the community work that we love to do, the environmental work that we love to do. We've been doing these things before you were supposed to be doing these things for the social benefit of it, social media benefit. We've been doing it just because it's the right thing to do and we need to be doing it. So, like for example, we produce actually that's at 1.7 billion. We produce 1.8 billion tea bags a year, and we're zero waste to landfill. That's pretty cool to produce that much. Means that we have less than 6% of all of our waste that is not reused, recycled, or composted. So that's pretty cool.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's really, and everyone loves it. They're completely committed to keeping us at the top of our game from a sustainability perspective. And yeah, we're really proud of the work that we do. But I got to get the message out there better and stay true to who we are as a family company and doing the right thing all the way around through the whole system.
And it's an unbelievable pressure when it's your name on the box. You know, it's not just a brand, it's your name. And when it's out there, it's like your heart's hanging out there on it as well. And your whole personality.
I got a cute little story to share with you. On the bottom of our boxes, we talk about the packer. Actually, that's Claudia Arduini. Anyway, so we say their first name and just their last initial on this. And we started this a few years ago, and we just did what we call sort of a package refresh. We were trying to let people, know that this was a Bigelow product, because people had no idea that even Bigelow was part of it. They didn't know where America, whatever. So we added this bottom part where we indicate what the operator is. And so a little while ago, one of our plants in Louisville, the foil was coming off the line, and it wasn't perfectly aligned. And she says to the mechanic, this is Sue C, would have been the initial, Sue Cortez. So she says to the mechanic, I don't think this is good enough, the lineup of the foil. I want you to stop the machine and work on it. And he said, but no, it's within spec. I mean, if you look at the specs, this is okay. And she said, I'm sorry, that's my name on the box. You need to shut it down, or if you want to keep running it, you can put your name on the box.
Touche, I like that. So many philanthropic causes that you're doing, but also you are supporting our troops. Talk about that for a second.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of people support our troops. They're easy to support and easy to love, and certainly
We know it should.
Well, we do a small part, but it's something we're very proud of. And it was, I think, around 2007. Don't hold me to the year. I'm not sure it's exactly right. And there was a lot that was in the paper about our soldiers that were being killed in Afghanistan and in Iraq. So we have a plantation in South Carolina that produces tea. We do not use that tea in our tea, Bigelow tea, but we use it for a very local product down there. But it's 100% American grown, obviously. So I was thinking about the tea that we had, some tea that was available down there, and a friend of mine, Duke Saltus' son had come back after his third tour and took his life. And I just was just sitting around, and I'm here to say to you, and I said it again this summer when I was speaking to some other students, sometimes you hear a little voice in your head that says, you know, why don't you do something about this? And you go, okay. I recommend highly you always listen to that little voice. So anyway, this little voice says to me, gee, can't we do something? I had no idea what do something means, but I said, well, let's see if we can do something. So I asked Duke if he would design a package for me with his name on it. And we would create a thank you box of the American tea. It's called, it's Cheek of the Troops is our program. It's not for sale. It's only available for free. We've given about 5 million bags away to our soldiers, and it's written like a thank you card. So it's saying to the soldiers, thank you for what you're doing, and it's sent to these stations around the world. But it's also written in a way, there's packets inside of it, that they can give it to the people that in which they are also serving overseas, right, as a peace statement, as a peaceful, positive thank you statement. It's very much written with unity in mind and honoring what they do. And it's just been extremely well received. The notes we've gotten back from the soldiers, a friend of mine is the vice president of the USO. He helps me get it overseas to these soldiers. But it's something that's very important to all of our employees as well. You have to remember, I am in a business that a lot of people maybe you'll be exposed to. I'm in manufacturing. Okay, we have 350 people. 260 of them are in manufacturing. We have operators and mechanics, material handlers that are just making those tea bags every single day. A lot of their family members are in the services. And so for them to be able to make this product and to get it out to their loved ones and to get the notes back from their loved ones as well as other soldiers. I had recently little notes at our road race, and I had all the little kids with crayons write little thank you notes, and then we put them in the box and we sent them overseas. So it's a really cool thing to do, and it's just one of those things that starts with a little voice, and we can all do those things all the time, and it's now turned into this program of significant pride to all the employees at Bigelow.
Is that American Classic tea?
Yeah. Well, that American Classic is the Charleston product. This is the tea for the troops is not for sale. This is made just for the soldiers.
Great.
It just uses the same tea.
Okay, I'm going to ask you one last question, so Cindy.
Okay.
Today, you were, roll back the clock, and you were advising yourself as a young college graduate. What would you say to you?
Work hard. Work hard. Never, ever, ever compromise on working hard. Give everything you do, all of you. And that doesn't go for partying. Although I did do that well in Boston College. Exceptionally well. But really, it's just literally always giving everything your all. And it's all you got, really, at the end of the day when you look back. If you work half, I won't finish the sentence on that, right?
Halfway?
Halfway! It's so much better than what I was going to say. Yeah. But it's just think about it when you look back and like you didn't sing until you just, your lungs were going to explode, or you didn't work and give it everything you have. Even if it's medium, you're going to get something out of it. People are going to notice. You're going to feel good about yourself. If you like to work out, give it your all. Really, just give everything you're doing your all. without ever at the shortchange of your family. That one of the greatest things that I am the most proud of is that if I could have any successes in my life, I still have raised two amazing children that I'm very, very close to, who almost thought I didn't work, not quite. That was awesome.
Well, we'd like to open it up to, if you're willing, a
Oh,
few
sure.
questions from the audience. Who might want to ask this fantastic lady a question? Yes. Can you stand up and say your name?
Yeah, and any question's fine too, don't worry about it.
Or you have the mic.
Hi, my name is Nicole.
Hi, Nicole.
It's nice to see you again, Linda. It's
Thank you.
Nice to meet you, Cindy. Thank you again for coming. I just wanted you to speak a little bit about your transition from just a normal employee within the company to your dad's position and taking over his footsteps and everything, and how it felt and kind of that transition process and how your dad maybe helped you into that position.
Well, my dad and I didn't really have a lot of contacts together when I was in the business. I did my own thing, I fought my own fights, I had my own problems. And I was very focused on what I was doing. I just said, give your all, right? So when I was working in different departments, I ended up becoming a troubleshooter inside Bigelow Tea. And so I would have to learn how the department worked, how can we make it better, how do I bring everyone together, how do we get to the next level. And then I had to build for obsolescence because I was going to be gone in 2 to 3 years. So I was very wrapped up in whatever I was doing. And what I didn't realize that was happening was I was forming alliances along the way, which was very, very important because, you know, some people are going to be skeptical. How hard is she going to work? Is she just getting it on a silver platter? So I didn't realize that, but as I was working really hard and doing my thing and going down deep and blah, blah, I was forming all these alliances that later in life were going to be so important for me because I have so many beautiful touch points to the organization. So, but as years went on, I had to fight to get to the next position because what ended up happening is some of these positions were already taken. So we had to sometimes do things that my father wasn't comfortable with, but we would only do them. I can only say it if it was the right thing to do, is to move people to different positions. So, but I had to pitch myself hard because people would be like, oh, she's going to come in, she's going to like let people go, she's going to, you know, they were describing a person that hadn't done that once, but that's okay. You know, sometimes people start to their own think thing going on there. So I would have to pitch that this is what I was going to do, and then I had to prove myself, and every time I went to a new thing, I had to start all over again. And then at one point, I had to become vice president of nothing, because it was just a period in time where it wasn't ready for me to go further, and we weren't going to move over this other individual, so I literally became just vice president. That was a weird place. So you had to be confident enough with yourself to be vice president of. And I remember I was on Don Imus, and he was introducing me before I got on, and he was reading his little whatever, and he says, oh, she's vice president. There's nothing after vice president. That means she's vice president of nothing. What does she actually do there? I said, you've got to be kidding me. And that's how I was introduced on the Imus show. It's like, I am vice president of. But I was very comfortable with there too. It's like Linda asked me earlier. I knew it was one thing about my father and I, it's mission first over person. Mission first would be the other recommendation I will always make for you. It has to be mission first, not what's good for you or your ego or your car or your office or your title. Clearly, I was vice president of nothing. And from vice president of nothing is when I then was going to, after a few years, ascend to the position of president. But I had been so blessed, so many years there, so many departments, so many alliances, you know, such beautiful bridge building that when I took over, it was, this is nice of me to say, and I'm speaking for how other people think, you really need to go to other people for verification. It was a very natural transition. Nice of me to say again. I think I had really proven myself, and everyone was very comfortable, to the point when people were saying to me after a certain number of years in that position, that I needed to put some between me and the other vice presidents. I said, that is never going to happen. They will not stand for that because our relationship is so close and I have such good relationships. If I put another layer in, that'll blow this place up because they need that direct connection. So it was slow build, bumps along the way, But all those bumps were invaluable to who I am today, and the relationships are real. That's what's more important than anything. And if by chance my son comes into the business, or my daughter, I'm actually a little uncomfortable saying to them, you know, gee, you really should start kind of low and work yourself up, because it's just, I don't know, but that was the greatest gift for me, is starting where I started. Not that it cost me, that was low, it's an awesome job. But,
You would work there since you were 16.
yeah, well, then I was stuffing boxes and selling displays.
Okay, you know how
yeah,
it works.
yeah, so that's gonna be a little issue for me, is because I think to make that transition you're talking about, and that sort of that delta when that you actually now take a real leadership role, if you go through the way I did, it's sort of seamless. If you come in that position or a high-level position, you haven't done all the things that I just shared, and if I'm at all good at what I do, those years are what made me that way. That's a great question, thank you.
Okay. So I'm into your teas. I love them. Yes, I have like a tea area in my house, and my favorite tea. I do. I love tea. My favorite.
Do you know how good it is for your voice? I'm not kidding you. See, no, we have a lot of singers that absolutely are madly in love with drinking our like lemon lemons.
And my favorite is the plantation mint, the black tea. So my question is, what's your favorite tea out of all the teas that you guys make?
Oh, no, I don't want to hear it now. I got like 150 kids, so that's like saying which one's your favorite. Which ones do I drink the most is what I can say. I will say that Cozy Chamomile is a huge fan of mine now. I'm a huge fan of it now, I should say. I do love our Earl Grey. Our Green with Pomegranate is definitely my go-to product as well. So Earl Grey, Green with Pom, Cozy are my first three go-to teas. But do you know that my mother, she is so proud. That plantation mint is the only tea she ever created. And how she created is a cute little story. So, it's spearmint. And my grandmother didn't like spearmint. My grandmother only liked peppermint. So my grandmother was a very strong woman. And my mom wanted to create a tea. So she went into this, like, whatever with my dad after they were married, and she created this little product, plantation mint, and she gave it to my grandma on Mother's Day. Here! And they were so worried about what she was going to do, because she was it was her way or the highway, and she absolutely loved it. And so my mother is so proud of that product, and we all know that they're a little later on in life. We don't need to say any age thing here. But it's really her source of pride is that particular tea.
So she gave that to her mother-in-law.
Gave it to mother-in-law.
That was very bold.
Very bold.
Very bold.
And good old Ruth Campbell was good about it. That's all I can tell you.
Ruth. Go Ruth.
Well, thank you.
Anyone else? We probably have time maybe for one more.
I love the questions.
I haven't looked up here. Any from up here?
Yes?
Yes, sir.
Hello, Joe. This is probably a planted question.
Stand up, Joe. Stand up, Joe. We all
Joe
know Joe.
Fasani.
A lot of discussion about whether you could teach business ethics in a college environment. How did you learn your ethics, and could you talk about your father's influence as a role model?
Well, that was a stamp story. And I have to tell you, I am one lucky little girl. I have the best dad in the whole world. No, I do. I'm not going to cry, but I could. He is the most amazing husband. And believe me, my mom's a tough cookie. I love my mother, but he is so beautiful every day. And he's so fair to the employees, and he loves the employees. And he's an amazing listener. His kindness, he comes into a room and it just melts. So I just was blessed to have someone in my life for 56 years that just every single day I learned from him. And it's hard for him now because he's used to running the company, right? And he had to give it up in 2005. And, you know, it's hard for me as, you know, I'm the apple of his eye, or he's the apple of my eye, however that's supposed to go. For me to sit in meetings with him now, and he, you know, has to let me do my thing, and you can see sometimes he really wants to have an opinion and be heard, and, you know, the days when he was running the business, and he, you know, he'll say, I want to share with you my opinion, blah, 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 but I know what you'll do is best, and I always do what I feel is best. But that hurts because the little girl in me wants to do exactly what he wants. But I can't. I have to do what I feel is best for the business. He wants me to do what's best for the business. But that's hard for me today because he's just about the kindest human being I've ever met, and I just want to make him happy every single day. So
That's
Thanks for
fantastic.
asking.
Thank you. I'm going to turn it back over to Dean. Thank you very much. What are your questions?
Thank you very much. Okay, don't move. We've got 2 gifts and 1 announcement. And Cindy, on behalf of the students, and would you come up, please? One of the students will present you with, I'm sure you don't have one of these yet.
I'm so
We'll
excited.
see.
What
I
is
got a
it?
feeling you probably got 10 of them.
Nice. I love this. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I love
You
that.
can take it out and act surprised.
I'm very happy. I'll open it all later. Looks like there's all kinds of goodies in here.
All right, so that's 1 gift. In a minute, we will get the 2nd gift as the shoe choir sings again. Before they do, I want to make 2 announcements. 1, there's always a reception. We always feed the students. That'll be just outside the door when you leave. And the alumni will have their own special reception, which Todd will show you where that is. So, your final gift is shoe love.
Oh, I'm so excited.